A very good evening and warm welcome to all the participants. I am Akanksha Nair from DM Challenger and I will be your webcast host today. We are happy that you could join our webcast on hands-on webinar on CI/CD using Jenkins, organized by DM Challenger, presented by Mr. Kaushal Sahu. I'll give a short introduction about our today's presenter. Mr. Kaushal is a technical professional having 13 years of experience in software engineering. He is an alumni of IIT Kanpur and IIT Roorkee. He has worked in product-based companies like GE India, Oracle India, and Speridian Technologies. Currently, he is working as a DevOps architect with exposure in build engineering, automation, and configuration management. So, this was a brief introduction about our today's presenter. Throughout the webinar, you are all welcome to submit your questions in the chat box and we will be taking the questions accordingly. I would request all the participants to please be on mute throughout the webinar and please not to share their screen as the presenter will be displaying his screen. Now it's my pleasure to turn it over to the presenter for today, Mr. Kaushal Sahu.
Yeah, thanks, Kancha. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. I'll share my screen and we'll start soon. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Kaushal. Yeah.
Yeah, so today's webinar, like we are going to talk about CI/CD using Jenkins, and our main focus will be like a show demo and also cover CI/CD concepts. Why we have chosen this concept in current emerging market, if we see trend in last 5 years, DevOps has been like one of the top emerging technology, and it this is much needed in every project and every technology, irrespective of platform. Whether we talk about Windows, irrespective of cloud, whether we talk about AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. This DevOps basically it is automating our routine tasks, and also it gives us option for setting up the standards so that whole project follows the same guideline, and hence we achieve a high rate of delivery without much bugs. So that's why this is trending in the market. Let's jump into like one of the demo. Then after that we'll cover concepts, and if anyone has a question, you can post in chat and we'll answer those. So what is happening in, like, if we talk about software project, so there will be like, let's say, one team working on that, and we have 15 developers in that particular project. Now all these, like, what they are working on, they got a business requirement from client, and they have to deliver particular requirement by converting into like functional aspect by using technology. Let's say they are using Java J2E. Now that a particular business requirement will be distributed to all 15 developers, and they will start working on that. So what developer wants here, they want some kind of mechanism to test their code immediately. Let's say I am developer, I have written 10 files, and I want to test those. So like support this particular means his changes should go into some particular environment. Let's say we are talking about we have a development environment, and his changes are like required to be pushed here so that he can test whether his code is working or not. So what was happening in a traditional way of like deployments or traditional way of working? Let's say we take example like 10 years back. So all these guys will develop the code, and they will use some kind of version control system, version control system, like whoever working in IT, they must be aware like SVN and Git, which provides the option for versioning and also high availability for storing my code. Whoever are from like they are not aware of VCS, so they can think of kind of SharePoint where we can share documentation and others can access it. So this is what one of the version control system people use it. And here, let's say all developers are pushing their code. All 15 developers will push code here, and this code needs to be deployed here. So let's say if we provide we have like let's say 3-person support staff also who will look into this particular code, means this particular deployment, and we give responsibility to them. Okay, let's deploy it. Means as soon as the developers checks in the code, but when they analyze it, let's say 15 developers are there, and they one developer uh, checks in the code into the version control system 10 times in a day. So there will be 150 commits. And for 3% to manage 150 deployments in one day, it is very means difficult. So what they what was option that time? They will conclude on something. Let's say uh, I'll deploy one particular time 12 p.m. IST, then I will deploy 5 p.m. IST, and then I will deploy let's say 10 p.m. IST. Whatever commits happens in between these two, those will go into the server. Let's say someone is committing the change around 5:15. He has to wait for extra 5 hours to mm, for his changes to be available in this particular development server. Then only he can test it. So here now developers are wasting, and for client also uh, it is like huge cost. He has to pay extra 5 hours to that particular developer for like company which he has outsourced. To avoid all these scenarios, DevOps helps in this. Let's say here we are using Java technology, and we have some application server, let's say Tomcat, and these developers are deployed in this particular project, and uh, they need to push their changes into development environment. So now client has set up the uses of DevOps, and obviously Jenkins comes into the like this feature as a CI/CD engine. What is CI/CD? We'll talk down the line. So here now we have like requirement: export the code from VCS, compile it, sorry, package it, run unit testing, then deploy it. After that, if some kind of feedback developer gets, what happened to his particular piece of code? Let's say he wrote 10 lines of code, and it reached here, and this particular task happened. But if he doesn't get any feedback, like whether that particular code is deployed successfully, or if errors are there, where those errors came. So feedback, let's say feedback means sending the mail in which process this particular code failed. So these are the like one of the basic requirement of developer. He needs some particular trigger that which can perform these tasks, like exporting the code, compiling it, packaging it, unit testing it, deploying it, and also someone should provide feedback to that guy. Now if we are able to automate these tasks, so as I gave example, I took example like 10 commits by each developer, so 150 commits. Now this particular task, let's say, takes 10 minutes. So still we can, like my job can trigger like in every 10 minutes, or let's say whenever commit happens. It depends on scenario. So based on that particular requirement can be like this can be configured using Jenkins. So here I'll show like Jenkins login here. So I am already logged into the Jenkins. This is my Jenkins job, and if you see here, I have these particular 3 scenarios: preparation, build, results. these particular three scenarios are there, means three stages are there. Wherever this particular gets failed, it will come into the red and job will get terminated. So here I am doing the preparation, means exporting the code. Then I am building it in build process. I am doing these three things: compile, package it. After that, I am performing some kind of result. Means I am generating some test reports. So this is covering this particular thing. Deployment, like it's getting deployed in Tomcat server. So I am using another job which is getting triggered by this test job itself, and then it will deploy there. So as of now, my application deployed is this one. I have one Java J2 code which is hosted on this particular Git repository, and it gets deployed whenever I trigger job, or whenever it will trigger like based on my schedule. So this particular code is getting deployed in Tomcat server, and hence I am able to see the GUI. Now let's understand and change this particular. As of now, if you see, welcome to this game of life in second run. Let me change it and see it how quickly I can deploy if I use DevOps technology. So, and for this, there is no means whoever works on DevOps, they will configure the job. We can like hand over this to less experienced guys also, and they can trigger this job and monitor it how it behaved. So this is one of the like means great option available here. We don't need like a skilled resource to monitor this particular thing for developers. The developers can themselves monitor it, but we will not give all the access for configure and all those things. But they can have only view access. So all those we can get access by using Jenkins. So any question till here? Yeah, so Jenkins is like one of the, we will cover down the line. Jenkins is one of the GUI based solution which acts like which provides option for triggering the job or executing the particular commands. Let's say I have one particular Linux. Yeah, so yeah, I'll cover it. So here, like Jenkins is one of the CI/CD engine, and it has like a huge options. Let's say I am using today Java, someone is using Python, and for version control system I'm using Git, others are using SVN. Now let's take this example. Whenever if we don't have like we don't use Jenkins, in that case what happens? I'll let's say I'm deploying Java code now, and I have to connect through Git. Now to connect through Git and deploy the Java code, I have to write like a lot of lines of code to establish the connectivity to the Git, because the Git has different libraries, and hence I need to export all those libraries and make it working. Now requirement comes, someone is connecting through, like they are using SVN as a repo, and they need to deploy that code. Then we need SVN as a library. So that's how like this Jenkins comes handier. Basically, it has a lot of options to for easier connectivity with various DevOps tool. You name it, any DevOps tool, it will have plugin for that, or support library we can say, and we can install those and we can establish the connectivity to that particular DevOps tool. So that's why Jenkins is more useful. There are like a lot of tools are there. Like, let's say Jenkins is extended version of Hudson, but both provides like same capability. There are like Semaphore is there, one of the tool in cloud option, but that is like you need to like purchase it for 1 month. You can use it free, but others for other remaining thing you have to like take the enterprise license. Second thing is that let's say it provides like easier connectivity. Let's say I'm taking there is another tool called Bamboo. If I want to execute, I want to use Bamboo. In that case, like connectivity to various tools it's very very difficult. So that's how Jenkins open source is one of the best option. Second, it has around 1,000 plus plugins which provides connectivity to various tools which other CI/CD tool doesn't provide it. So these are the few things which we can consider why Jenkins is widely used. Another thing that we get lot of community support. Let's say I stuck into some error and I can get lot of open information and I can fix my issues. These are the few things. I hope this answers your question, Mayank and Vishal. We'll move ahead to means the next step of this one. Like I was explaining deploying to this particular thing. So my code is deployed and it has this one. Now I'll make changes into the code and then I'll trigger that job and we'll see how fast this particular deployment happens. I have made changes into my Git code and I'll open that Git window. Let's see here, Git status. So it is saying that I have modified this file. So I need to add it, git add, means basic git commands here.
Hi Kaushal, sorry to interrupt in between, but I think one of the participant is not able to see your screen.
So is it?
I think Vishal just pinged on the chat.
1 second.
Vishal, please confirm once you are able to view.
Yeah, can you confirm if you are able to see? I'm in the Windows command and this red portion, red line, if you are able to see, modified game of life.
Oh, okay. Kaushal, I think he is having some issue with his network, so he'll rejoin.
Yeah, sure. So we'll move on. So here I'm committing that particular file to Git. Now file is available in my Git local repository, but this code is available into the Git. So I'll push it to GitHub. It's public repository, so it is not asking for password and all those. I have tried to create simple. Even you can access that particular code and you can play with it if you want to deploy. Developers don't need code; they can develop by themselves. But whoever working on DevOps, they can get this code. So this code is available here, and I have changed this file here. Now let's try to trigger this particular job. So I'll go here. I can schedule it, but here I wanted to show demo, so I'll trigger it manually. So it is started. So here you can see I have created the pipeline. Here it is showing a first stage, how much time it took, second stage, how much time it took. If it fails, it will give a option here. You can check the logs also if there are issues. So it helps in debugging. If you take the cursor into the particular stage, you will see the status. As of now, it's showing in progress. Here, if you see, it is showing success. This stage is passed. Now we are in build. So in build process, I am performing these things: compilation, packaging. Feedback I have not enabled because I need one email server. So as of now, this is not enabled, but it is these many tasks I am performing from here to here.
Kaushal, I have a doubt. Kaushal, can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Kaushal, as you see that the preparation, build, and results you're getting, right? So
Right.
you have a code and you have modified that code and you're pushing that code to the Jenkins. right? Right.
No, I'm triggering the Jenkins job, which connects to GitHub, takes this code and compiles it, packages it, and then deploy it.
You sorry, can you please repeat that?
I have this Jenkins job. This is a kind of scheduler. If you are aware of cron job, so we write the steps and schedule as a cron job, and
Okay.
then it will perform those steps. So I have created this particular test job, and then these things I have defined. These are the functions, you can say. These are the functions which perform the task, means getting the code, compiling it, packaging it, and then deploy it.
So, but where it will deploy? We need some.
It will deploy into it. So I have one Tomcat server. Here I mentioned this. This Tomcat server is running in local.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So in this deployment particular thing, I am passing that URL, and then it gets deployed here.
Okay. You're passing that in the code.
Right. Not in the code. In Jenkins code, I should not touch it. That's why I use all the DevOps tools. When this code gets migrated from development to stage and our production, we should not touch the code base. And
can you
that's
show
what,
me?
like, requirement.
Can you show me that value you're passing in the Jenkins to the Tomcat, right?
Yeah. I'll show it. Actually, idea is that we will have like a different webinar where we will show everything in detail. As of now, it is part of only demo.
Okay.
But but here I have written like this is my this is what I'm using Jenkins file. So here I am doing this, like I'm exporting the code, passing my Git URL. Jenkins will read this file, and then it is building it. After that, it is doing the result. So this is how my this file is configured. Okay.
But it will also compile it. Compile, we need a Tomcat server. That is, it is pulling from your local.
Tomcat, it is connecting to local. If you see here, this is my Tomcat server.
Oh, okay. It is connecting to your local Tomcat server.
Right.
Okay.
Now I had like another job. This is completed. Everything is success, and it should have deployed here. So this job actually triggers a different job, and it will deploy to the Tomcat. We can make it simple also. So here, if you see this last success 1 minute 42, this job deploys there. So I have configured that this trigger will invoke this and deploy it. Now if we see here, let's see whether that code came or not. So this is the modification I had done here in this file. In this file, I had changed this one. So now I am taking a fresh deployment is available, and developers can test it whether it's working or not. This is one of the small implementation to show in this webinar. I hope now you understand like importance of this particular job and why we need it. So all these steps is performed. We don't need to worry about. We can schedule it through like on each commit basis, or we can schedule in every interval of 10 minutes or 5 minutes, depending on our requirement. Okay, so now we'll move to our actual concepts. What is CI/CD? Yeah, go ahead.
One sec, Kaushal. So here, no need to compile it. Jenkins will compile it. It will build it as a package. So for example, we have a long code, right? But for example, of 5 pages of code. So we need to compile it before, right? So for example, if it is a Java code, Java-C, that file name.
It will do inside everything. See, this is the one of the JSP file I have changed. But this, if you see here, there is like huge lines of code. These all are code. So this all will get compiled automatically.
Okay.
We are not worried about it.
Okay. So
and also we are not trusting developers also. Let's say we had decided to use Java 8. Then if developer has done the like compilation in his local and he used Java 7. Now when we are migrating to development server which has Java 8, we might get some issues. So all these things like we'll cover in the next webinar. Let's like stick to our agenda and we'll understand this.
Okay. Yeah, I understood now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So I hope like everyone is clear. And any question between? Okay, fine. So I'll move ahead and like cover this particular our agenda today. So the demo just now we completed. Now let's understand what is why DevOps is necessary in this particular IT world. So we have like we always talk about like a delivery team is working on this one. So we have like a delivery team, development team, which is responsible for designing, researching on that particular business requirement, coding, testing it. But what happens like in actual who supports that production environment? Let's say I am accessing Airtel.in. Now that Airtel.in is like live, it's serving to the customers. So that particular infrastructure setup, where it is deployed, which release, like how this they are pushing new particular requirement. Let's say Airtel is launching new plan for broadband. Now how they should accommodate there in GUI. So that release management, and let's say sometimes GUI itself is not available. Then who are some issues came? So production support and high availability. Like if my application is not available, what is like security and networking involved into that? Like nowadays, like there is chance of hacking and all those things. So all these things like are covered by operations team, but we are will always talk about like delivery team has done this. So all these like application, whatever is deployed or whoever is accessing this is joint work of delivery team plus operations team, and both the team like aim is efficient code, proper testing, untouched code. When we are migrating from development to like other environment, then code should not be touched. In those scenarios, these guys like blame each other. Let's say what happens, we pushed one new requirement to the production, new code to the production, and it breaks. He will say he has tested it, his code worked fine in the local, and he will say, operations team will say his code like his environment was fully functional before until we migrated this code. Now both of them will blame each other, but at last it is impact to customers and it is impact to client. So we have to set up few particular standard so that both the teams follow that standard and both are aligned to each other. Let's say efficient code means what should be the code quality, what are the testing scenario we are covering, and when we are migrating from one environment to other, we should not touch this particular code. So we always take this package file whenever we are migrating from here. We should not do this one. Otherwise, developer will keep changing the code. He gets new requirement, and his responsibility is to work on new requirement, and hence if he will keep changing the code here. So when we are migrating from one environment to other, then we always take package file. We don't go in this particular raw code. Okay, any question till here? Okay, I'll move ahead. Now that is the like now understand the issue like whatever I explained in previous slide. So there are chances that there might be conflict between developers and operations. When we are doing manual releases, then release cycle is larger. Like people used to take a cut over window, let's say every once in a month, and then all these changes will go live on production. But sometimes what happens during agile world, we have to deliver it faster so that there is no loss of revenue or small issues, we can fix it quickly. So all those like issues were there when we are talking about traditional process other than DevOps. So poor collaboration means the delivery team and operations team were not aligned. When there is like a manual release, there are chances that it might fail, and hence it will lead to extra cost. And for deployment, a developer will use a different kind of tool. Let's say they are using for Java, they are using one developer is using Ant, other is using Maven. Now there is no fixed tools for deployment, and hence all the people will use whatever expertise they have, and team will not be aligned to use one particular tool, and hence troubleshooting the issues becomes more tedious. Overuse of infrastructure. Let's say there is one particular method in Java, and like reusability, we have to see whether like my code is reusable or not. If we are not using the code and we are writing another code for similar functionality, then we are overusing our infrastructure. And infrastructure comes at the cost of, like it incurs some cost. So that particular things are there. Performance issue for sure will be there when we are pushing unnecessary uh, uh, lines of code into the server. So these are the traditional process issues. Now this DevOps, what it offers, it tries to balance both by setting up the standard. Okay, the client has given the requirement and we have understood the need of developers, what they need, and we have automated that. We have used like analyzed technology for building the code and for deployment. Now there is no question of this. So these team should have both the teams should be aligned, and these should be like on same level. There should not be any issues with like this guy should not say that this is code issue. This guy should not say that it is a platform issue. So we have to develop this DevOps assist us in developing the solution based on balance. So these are like features which like were issues in traditional process, better collaboration, latest technologies, faster release cycle, no conflict between developers and operations team, resource and cost reduction. It is like very much needed in this world, in this particular time, and hence like by using DevOps tool, for sure client can save some cost. Increase performance, standard process oriented, like how these comments we have to write, how we can do better in readability, what are the new features available in Java if we are taking that Java technology as example, so whether those are we are using or not. Rollback means when something fails in production, we roll back to previous one, and hence we developer has to rework on that. Continuous feedback that means the developer will be getting. Even client can see the report that how this code, how this particular release going through. Any question till now? Let me see chat. Okay. Now let's talk about like release management. So system development life cycle, these are the phases: initiation, system concept development, planning, requirement analysis, design, development, integration and test, implementation, operations and maintenance, and disposition. Like whatever things are not required, we will wipe it out. So these are the things on particular when we start developing some particular project. Let's say I have developed the coalmines.com. Now in that, like I'll see what is my objective, which technology I have to use, how I should plan all the analysis. Then I work on design. Then I'll start developing it, and then I'll do all the testing. Whether whatever I wanted to cover, it will those are working or not. Then it will go like it will be handed over to operations and maintenance team. These are the normal SDLC concepts. You can go through like Wikipedia and like get more information. Now, what are the delivery challenges here? So we have to like understand release management process. Like what are the risks, in which team I have dependency. Let's say there is DBA team, they have wrote a 10 store procedures, whether those are working or not, and whether we are following all the particular process like compliance issues, means we are using all these technology as per client company audit system. We should not use as per us, like I am using some open source jars and I have put in the code. It might give risk to the client. Deployment coordination means when we are performing that, whether if any issues comes during deployment, how I can escalate it and all those things. Then deployment automation, whether I am covering all these scenario for deploying it. Let's say in particular one Java code I am using shell script, whether that shell script is working or not, those kind of automation I am taking care or not. So these are like three major challenges when a new requirement comes. Now like if we see like there are like now all the development happens based on like agile. So what is agile? Always like it addresses the gap between customer requirement and dev and testing team. So so whenever like a requirement comes, those should be they look on like okay, design it, build it, and test it. And then there will be like a scrum master. He will prioritize the task. Like say some user story came, and then again this particular cycle happens. So so this by following the this agile methodology, we can fill in the gap between like business analysts and developers and testers. Now what DevOps comes into where DevOps comes into the picture, it addresses the gap between developers plus operations team. We have automated release process, so they will develop it, and we have seen demo already. They will develop it, and my job will DevOps setup will test it and deploy it. Everything it will do. So this is how my where DevOps comes. Now let's talk about Jenkins. What is Jenkins? I already like I think Vishal asked some question on Jenkins. So let's understand this. It's pure theory based. You can install it Jenkins in your system within 5 minutes if you want to like practice. So it is an open source tool with great community support. It is very easy to install. It has around 100,000 plus plugins to ease your work. Let's say you want to connect to one DevOps tool today. You can install that plugin and establish the connectivity. You don't need to worry about like what like what should write in what should I write in the code, where I will get that library. All these things I should not worry about. Jenkins is free of cost. It is built on Java J2E, and hence it is portable to all the major platforms. Java is a platform independent language. It is open source automation tool, and it has a CI/CD, a continuous integration and continuous delivery. We are going to talk these 2 points in coming slides. As of now, I am skipping these two. It allows us to continuous deliver our software by integrating with a large number of testing and deployment technology. Let's say I am using Ansible for deployment. I can integrate Ansible with Jenkins. I want to use Selenium as a testing tool for Java J2E functional test or integration test. So I can integrate my Jenkins with Selenium. Jenkins enables developers to automate this process as much as possible up to the point of deployment. As I explained here, this particular file gets into the code. Let's say they want to perform some extra task, or they want to remove this. Let's say there is a urgency, and this result execution takes 5 minutes. So they want to skip it. They can remove it. My Jenkins will dynamically adjust the pipeline because this code is present here. Here, if you see, Jenkins file is present here. If I want to remove anything, I can remove it, commit it. This particular stage then will not be available in this particular thing. It will skip those states. So what I want to say, what a developer has option as much as he wants to do the automation. We can do the automation like complete automation, or if you want to skip also for few releases, definitely this has to be done in coordination with the DevOps team and also with client. So we can skip few steps or whatever steps you want to perform. As I said, code is untouched when we are talking about one environment to other environment migration. So we take package file only. We don't do this one. In build process, we need only package. We don't need to prepare it. We will take that code package file and deploy it. So all these things options are available in Jenkins. Okay, so here organization can accelerate the software development because now developers are not wasting their time and they are not doing unnecessary like non-technical work. We do like continuous integration. We are going to cover it, and this again plugin allows integration with various DevOps tools like Maven, Amazon EC2. All those things are supported. So these are like few of the Jenkins features. Jenkins is like quite big topic. It takes around 12 to 18 hours to cover from like scratch to advanced level. Now, let's talk more about CI/CD. These are the things I have shown during demo: exporting, compiling, packaging, unit testing, deployment, integration test. Now, this is the manual build. Developers are working on that. They will push the code. Someone will deploy, perform these tasks manually, maybe once in a day or twice in a day, and those will go into the build server. These are the manually, and here developer like ends up wasting some of the time because he cannot test it. Now, what is continuous integration? CI stands for continuous integration. Every change committed in the repository are built immediately. Whatever changes are there in the source code repository, those will be pushed immediately to here. So this process is called continuous integration. Whatever demo I have covered, that is continuous integration. As soon as my files are present into the version control system, that particular code will get deployed by performing all these tasks. After that, again, like user acceptance testing in UAT or staging, then in production. So these doesn't come under continuous integration. The lowest available development environment is like our aim is to push to that particular lowest available environment, and that is called continuous integration, so that developers are not wasting time. Is it clear? Continuous integration. Any question? Yeah, operations team means it is a support team which supports the particular platform, which owns the like automation or let's say environment. Developer will get a restricted access, and some other team will support that. Maybe production or maybe development. All these environment supports, that is called operations team. Sorry, I got dropped off. I'm sharing a screen again. Can someone please confirm if they are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the continuous integration we discussed. Now, what is a continuous delivery? Before production, we want to automate all the like release scenario, so that it goes into UAT environment. So this you can consider development environment. This is a UAT environment or a staging environment. Then here production environment. So continuous delivery means making like further automation to deploy that code into the higher environment other than development environment. So this is continuous delivery. So we covered CI, we covered CD. CD we have two things: continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So let's understand what is continuous deployment. So continuous deployment is a complete automated process till production. Let's say today some bug came and team attended that, and client will say, let's use our automation and push it to the production because there is a huge impact and this bug is very small. So in that case, we look for like a complete automation, automating all the scenarios. So here we have this, if you see, manual release, everything we are doing manually. CI means we are pushing it to the build server, nothing but development server. CD, continuous delivery, means it goes to another next level, maybe UAT or test environment. And then we have continuous deployment, which goes to production. Like, is everyone clear with all these means concept: continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery?
Yes, Kaushal. But here, like, see, as you said, that it is when we have a code repository, any changes we'll push it into the build server. That is nothing but a development, and then we'll push it to UAT and production servers, right? So,
right.
So in what scenarios? Let's say you showed one example of changing that welcome page or something, right? Mm-hmm. So if, for example, there is a code change in the page, in a web page, we will be pushing that into the development server first. It will build it, then there is no point of compiling everything in every stage, right? The first stage is itself, we generally do the package itself, we push it to the UAT, right?
Right. So what happens? We
Yeah,
export,
yeah,
compile,
yes.
package. Now
Hmm.
each build will have a build number. Let's say I
Hmm.
have something hello world,
Hmm.
hello world dot var -1.
Hmm.
Now this particular file is now testing is happen. My Jenkins job now triggered this one hello world dot var 10. 10 builds have been successful. Now
Hmm.
this package file I am storing in another system. You can use Git. Generally for binary files, we use Artifactory and Nexus. These are the widely used tools, and these will be available in this particular repository. Like this is the repository. All these build files are available here. Now let's say now development is user story one completes in these 10 builds 10 builds, and it has to go into higher environment. Let's say this is my UAT.
Hmm.
Now I'll write Jenkins job in such a way that it will pick up the this build number. Means what is approved build number, I can pick up it from this and deploy it. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah.
There are
Yes.
multiple things like some projects say that let's test this user story and then merge it to test branch, and then perform all these tests and then push that code here, so that I am not maintaining unnecessary here. So here before merging, delivery lead will review all those changes, and he or she will approve it. Then we can perform and deploy to UAT. For production, strictly we will not go and perform all these three tasks. We will take only packaged and we will deploy into the production, because we don't
Oh,
want to take any risk. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So this is what like CI/CD, whatever was in today's agenda, we have covered it, and we can take up like a few like interview tips, and if anyone has a specific question, they can post it, and also they can share their feedback, which like Akansha or Mank will be sharing on maybe Google Forms or something. So if anyone has question on CI/CD, they can ask before like we jump into this. Okay, so let's discuss for like a few tips for
Kaushal, you are not audible.
Kaushal, you're not audible at all. Kaushal, you're there in the meeting.
I think he's having some network issues. Kaushal, if you can please hear us, we are not able to hear you. Okay, he's joining back. Okay, so sorry, I think he's having some network issues. Okay, he's joining back. Yeah. Hi, Kaushal.
Hi, can you hear me
Yes, we
now?
can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes, Kaushal, we
Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear you.
sorry. Yeah, sure, sure.
Most important topic.
Yeah, yeah. So let's say I have applied for one particular job and I got the job description. Let's say first, like I'm looking for a change in DevOps. Now I'm showing 3 years of experience. For sure, like down the line, like every 5 years, new technology comes, and each company is looking for some experience in that particular technology because they don't want to invest in training and grooming the resource. So they need maybe like 50-60% of the knowledge in that particular topic. Now I am showing 3 years of experience in DevOps, but I never worked on DevOps, and it is like new technology. Let's say it emerged 3 years before itself. Now, if I am showing all these, then I have to prepare my resume according to that. So my resume should be brief, and obviously for like experienced person, it doesn't matter what I did in college. Means obviously like grades will be there, but what are the extracurricular activities I did? It doesn't matter much to client when it comes to recruitment of experienced person. So we have to like uh, stick to that particular technology and prepare a resume on the basis of technical stack. So let's say DevOps requires like Jenkins. I want to put Jenkins. I have like definitely it requires some kind of scripting, shell scripting or some like Python. I put this. Now these are the two technical stuffs I have presented in my resume. Now I applied in company, let's say something Infosys. I got job description, and though that job description covers a lot of things, person should be expert in Jenkins. He should know shell script. He should know Python. He should know Docker. He should know cloud. All those things. Now your profile got shortlisted, and they called you for they communicated to you that further process will happen, maybe interview and all those, or written test. Now you saw the job description. It has 5 things, but you have mentioned in your CV only 2 things. So now in our mind, what are the things comes? Okay, let's brush up Docker, let's brush up AWS, but in 2 days or in 1 week I cannot learn it. So here preparation should be done according to the things which are there in your resume. Rest you can mention that you have explored it by own, but you are not expert in that, because interviewer is going to ask question based on your resume, not based on what are the technology he is looking for. Based on analysis or responses on Jenkins or shell script or Python, he will judge it whether he will be able to groom you, or he will be able to train you on this. Then only he will proceed with the next round. So always stick to resume. If don't make broad resume that it covers around 10 DevOps technology. When interviewer asks, we are not able to answer anything. So it has to be means brief resume, and give project details. Where you use Jenkins, what are the things you have done in Jenkins, and make sure that you are aware of all those things. At least basic fundamentals should be aware. If you are answering 50 to 60% of the question, then your profile gets moved to further next round. Similarly, if you are mentioning Python, then make sure that you are able to write some basic programs, or you are able to tell the definitions. Let's say then here we have to go to the college mode. Like in I have to write a semester exam for electrical engineering something. Then I'll cover everything. I'll revise everything, and then I'll go there and I'll write the exam. So like that, you have to make sure that you are aware of basic concepts. Let's say someone is asking, What is difference in array and tulip? So you should not say that I am not aware, because if you are saying you are not aware and there is programming skills requirement is there, then interviewer will not ask further question on that. He will stop there, because this is basic thing. So definition you have to understand, like in what is CI, what is CD. So two-liner you have to memorize it. So few things we have to memorize it based on that topic, so that you are able to answer it. Because for sure it's not required that okay, what is CI, CD, these definitions. But to move ahead, interviewer will not have much option to start with. Always they start with basic and then go in advanced. So we have to go into the college mode, revise everything, and then only go for interview. Now, so this is how you prepare for it. And basic, like always, the interviewer starts start with introduction. In introduction, you have to tell if you are experienced guys, you have to stick to your technology and tell all the details whatever you did in recent 3 to 5 years. What are the how you contributed, all those things you cover it, so that sometimes he doesn't have time to go through complete resume. If it is 5-6 pages resume, it is very difficult to go through that. So you tell, you prepare your introduction, practice it, and it should not be like more than 5 to 6 minutes, until interviewer himself is not asking further question. Okay, in this project, what did you do? If he asks, then you have to explain it. So you have to prepare introduction in such a way that it is confined to your technical expertise. If it is just college passed out, then he has to tell what are the things he did in college, and he can mention that. Maybe someone attends some technical workshop. All those things he can mention it. And the next thing that we have to always strong positive. Let's say interviewer asked 5 questions, you answered only 3. 2 questions you did not answer. Now here in mind it comes, okay, now nothing can be done, and it is almost over. So always positivity will be there, because the interviewer is going to screen 10 or 15 resume. Out of that, maybe some is answering only 2. You answered 3. So always stay positive, and this will result in motivating himself. Then weightage will be let's cover next thing. We already crossed time, but let's cover these 2 things. So technical round, we always if I am attending interview for technical things, let's say programming or something, I have to give more weightage to technical round, and I have to make sure that I am able to impress in technical round, rather than in asking some HR. Some companies in HR round, lot of questions are thrown. So those things matters a lot. But if technical feedback is good, then HR for sure cannot deny it, because manager will push that my team has interviewed it, and we have taken 3-4 rounds, and he has performed extremely well. So HR will not say any say on that. Now last topic, package negotiation. So this depends, generally most of the company asks in the beginning. So whatever package negotiation or whatever package you are looking for, whatever is there in your mind, explore in Glassdoor or some other review portal, what is the package for this particular designation in that company. Based on that, you should ask. But always mention that it's negotiable in bracket, so that at least project manager will have some option. Okay, if you are asking more and that doesn't fit into the project budget, then he will not further move the resume, although resume is good. In that case, always mention negotiable, and then you go for interview. Based on all the rounds of interview, you will judge yourself, and then you can ask when HR calls that this is what we are planning to offer. Then you can negotiate. If you have performed extremely well, then you can stick to it. Or you have multiple options, you stick to it, then they will give. So these are the few things which I wanted to cover in interview tips. If anyone has a specific question, I can take it up.
It was nice, Kaushalya.
It was nice, Kaushalya. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, thank you all. That's it from my side. So now I'll hand over to Akanksha.
Yeah, thank you, Kaushal, for the informative session on CI/CD Jenkins. So I hope all the participants had a wonderful time exploring the topic and enhancing their technical skills. So if you have any questions and need any personal consultancy, you can directly ask in the feedback form that we'll be sharing with you on the emails. So we'd request you all to please share your feedback as it will help us to improve. So I know we have exceeded the time. I'll take 2 more minutes before concluding the session. I would just like to brief about DM Challenger. So DM Challenger is an emerging and digital marketing platform, and it is an IT solution provider which will covering the brand marketing, content marketing, and SEO for different clients, which basically helps them to gain the higher rank in the market. So DM Challenger is also providing free internship to students. You can check our backlink tool on our website, which makes it come under the top 10 SEO software as a service product in the world. And for more information, please visit dmchallenger.com. Thank you all for joining us today. I would be sharing the feedback form. Please share your feedbacks. Goodbye and stay safe. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you everyone for joining the session. Please wait for our next notification or webinar. We will have a few more on DevOps. Thank you.
So what is that website? Sorry, dmchallenger.com, right?
Yeah. It is there in webinar link, Anil.
Okay, I checked that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Thanks.